Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Big shout out to Anderson for this, but we do have, there might be signs that Ripple are really gearing up for the US market and is expanding in New York in particular, which makes sense since that's where the US banking sector is concentrated. Now, we actually go over to Ripple's website real quick before I continue. There's actually 15 job openings in New York specifically. Number one, institutional DeFi opportunities around business development. We also have communications, community relations manager, internal communications manager as well. Custody. There's actually two positions that are in New York as well as Miami, Florida. Senior partner engineer, enablement, and then also senior product deployment project manager. Engineering as well, principal applied scientist. There's actually two jobs opening here in terms of New York as well as San Francisco. But we also have the UK and Canada really targeting the big four here. But also finance. We have financial services senior analyst, investor relations senior manager, and then also treasury. And again, all of this is US. New York, San Francisco, Miami, Florida, New York and San Francisco yet again. Global operations, senior GTM strategy and operations manager, San Francisco and New York yet again. Legal. There is 5 positions open here around legal in terms of even global KYC and due diligence, global investigations. You have an analyst and also a manager in that position. Very interesting. And then people operations. Again, this is more so HR. 3 positions in the US. Strategic initiatives as well in New York. So a ton of opportunities here in the US that they are looking for. And when we really look at what's going on around Ripple, specifically with custody services, things like that, it's definitely interesting. Just recently announced its plan to acquire Standard Custody, which is based in New York, which has been granted charter status by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Recently partnered with Uphold, which has its headquarters in New York for on-demand liquidity services. By this partnership, they could offer on-demand liquidity within the US in a regulatory manner as long as XRP is not sourced from Ripple. Ripple is expanding its New York office by currently offering 15 jobs located in New York. In their HQ office in San Francisco, there are currently just 11 job openings. I haven't seen this many job openings for Ripple in New York before, neither have I. This is also happening not long after XRP was declared a non-security by Judge Torres in the Southern District of New York. It could be time for Ripple to finally open up to the US market. And we talked a little bit about this, right? We addressed the fact that Ripple really is trying to take over the US, and they have been taken over outside of the US for a very long time, and they are in the big four. They're in Canada, they're in the UK, for an example. They've been looking into Australia for a while. Ireland is a big one. They've already got a lot of licenses in Ireland. I mean, they have been killing it, especially even in Dubai, the UAE. They've been doing great work there. India as well. I mean, guys, when we really look at Ripple, they've been globally expanding rapidly. They're already tapped in on 90% of the FX market. I think that they're already in 70 plus markets globally as well. I mean, they truly are, at this point in time, an absolute giant in the financial realm. A lot of people are undermining how big Ripple has become in just the last few years. I mean, hell, even if you go back to the initial lawsuit announcement from the SEC to now, I mean, it's a night and day difference. And that's saying a lot. But also worth mentioning, shortly after the lawsuit concluded, Ripple joined the ISDA, which has its headquarters in New York. MasterCard announced working with Ripple and others on CBDCs after the Torres ruling, shortly after Ripple joined the ISDA. MasterCard is US based and they have their international headquarters in New York as well. As we can see, it appears that the big announcements from Ripple may have something in common. And yes, it is definitely interesting around New York where all of these big names are positioned. And now we have Ripple expanding rapidly around New York and also tapped in heavily within the US. It's kind of, I don't believe in coincidences at all, but it's definitely something to know. Mickey B. Fresh actually responded, said, Ripple's already announced US integration of Ripple payments into the US. I think this is more likely a ramping up for an expansion of products, including fiat on and off ramping for enterprises, liquidity hub, and with standard custody and MSP licenses. It's pointing to stablecoin issuance possibly. Ripple moving beyond simply on-demand liquidity. That's a single app they've integrated into their platform, facilitated by Prisma, intelligent distributed trading platform hosted in cloud, event-driven microservices. The focus now is to route the on-demand liquidity flow through the XRP Ledger DEX/AMM pools and make XRP Ledger the liquidity network it was built to be. We need tokenized fiat for XRP to have the deep liquidity in AMM pools. And yeah, this could very well be the beginning of that secret sauce event. Guys, I strongly believe that something very, very big is on its way around this. And I do think that it really all starts with that AMM. I know that we've been talking about it. We've been hyping it up for a little bit of time. The AMM, the AMM, the AMM. But guys, we almost got it fully approved in February. We've started to see a lot of the major problems being fixed around the AMM. I do think, like my original viewpoint on the AMM, we'll have it within in the first 6 months of 2024. That's when everything starts to really kind of align perfectly. And I do believe that that's when Ripple really kind of starts ramping up their original vision with the XRP Ledger and XRP. Ripple Payments was announced today at the company's 7th flagship event, Swell. The newly launched Ripple Payment Solution is now available in the US, with more regions to come in 2024 based on jurisdiction. The availability of specific products and features will vary by jurisdiction, and here's where you actually see them tapped in on 70 plus markets in 6 continents with over 55 countries, and they serve hundreds of customers. But also, they are already tapped in on 90% of the global FX market, which is a $7.5 trillion per day market. But also, this is all a part of that one-stop shop narrative that I've been talking about, even with custody services and things like that. Oh yeah, they're becoming a one-stop shop. Why Brad always mentions Amazon. Ripple aims to become a one-stop shop for enterprises seeking services related to tokenization, storage, movement, and exchange of value. And yeah, that's where things start to get very interesting. And you know, the number one thing that we talk about is how much value is behind tokenization. Guys, I'm telling you right now, that whole $16 trillion by the Boston Consulting Group, that prediction by 2030 is ridiculous. You want to know why? Because custody services alone, and we got this from Brad Garlinghouse, is projected to be $10 trillion by 2030. Let's put this into perspective. If custody is worth $10 trillion, think about how large tokenization endeavors will actually become. I think $16 trillion is a drop of water in a bucket. There's a lot more money on the sidelines around tokenization. I personally believe that by 2030, we're talking about 6 years from now, guys. By 2030, we could potentially see $50 to $100 trillion in tokenized assets flowing on chain. The DTCC, they're settling $2.5 quadrillion worth of securities per year. They're now in the tokenization of securities game. And they're tapped in with Chainlink. They're tapped in with Swift. It makes a lot of sense for us to get to that $50 to $100 trillion mark by 2030, especially with all these major endeavors happening around these big players. But here you guys have that clip. This is from Brad Garlinghouse, where he does talk about $10 trillion by 2030 with custody services.
The macro environment around custody digital assets is expected to be close to $10 trillion by the year 2030. And inevitably, people are going to need a place to store those assets, and safe, secure, and they're going to need to be able to transfer them as well, having good on and off ramps. even a tokenization engine, some of the work Ripple is doing around central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. So we think there's a lot of pieces that come together, and we already had, and I remember when you and I first spoke, I remember being on a call with one of the largest top 10 banks in the world, and a bank Ripple was already working with, and they were asking us about, could we help them with their custody? This is prior to the Medico acquisition, and we weren't in a position to do that. And so when I think about that synergy, the ability to say to that existing Ripple customer, hey, here's a best in class, going head to head, time and time again, and winning on the custody level, to be able to bring that product to them, I think is a great opportunity for the two companies together. So,
and if you think about that, right, like they do want to be able to service all of those major banks. I mean, he's talking about a top 10 bank that was in discussions with them, and they were like, hey, like we want to tap into custody services. Can you offer that? And, for if you ever dealt in business, right, if you're selling a service, maybe it's not completely niche down, and they come to you and they say, hey, we're willing to pay you this much for this service, and you technically don't offer it, you're going to say, well, damn, I wish that I offered it because the money's good, the pay is good, and I want to make that money. Ripple's in that same position, and now they have cornered the market. They are tapped in on every single front. And what's crazy about all of this is back in December, I put out a post regarding all of the moves that Ripple made in 2023. When you look at all of these moves, a lot of them might not be as significant as the other ones, but a lot of these endeavors and a lot of these moves that were made all are hinting at where we are headed to now, which is this tokenized world where all of these big institutions are jumping in. They see the value behind tokenization. They realize how big it's going to be. But guess what? There's a lot of pieces that they need in order to actually tap into tokenization services. And Ripple wants to have all of that in place. When you go back in time to May of 2023, when Ripple acquired Medico, everyone thought this is it. This is what they're going to be focusing on from here on out, is tokenization endeavors. We actually know that it's not just tokenization though. It's even institutional DeFi. It's everything that these institutions want. Tokenization, DeFi, liquidity pools, all of that is hand in hand on everything that needs to be offered, that needs to be there. Liquidity is a big problem when it comes to tokenization endeavors. A market maker is a big deal when it comes to tokenization endeavors. Ripple wants to make sure all of that is in place. Even with standard custody, it's a big deal considering the fact that it's all on par with the original view. It's the fact that they want to make sure that they have everything in place. They want to have that tokenization solution. They want the storage solution. They want the movement and the exchange of value solution in place as well. And that's when you really look into the blockchain-based solution that they have been utilizing for well over a decade now, which is XRP and the XRP ledger. I mean, guys, it's very, very clear. You just need to look past all the nonsense. You need to look past all the, ridiculous comments made about how Ripple and XRP are dead. They're not doing anything. Guys, look past all of it. Look at all of the connections. Look at all of the events that have happened. I get it. The price is not as bullish as you want it to be. But guess what? Institutions, they're not making the market right now. When we really look at this space, it's not a utility-driven market. It is a speculative and hype-based market. But I'm telling you right now, you will regret when we are in a utility-driven market not taking advantage of XRP when it was just ranging around 50 cents. Or even when it was ranging around 30 cents. Because I still see people saying, oh, XRP is doing nothing. You bought 30 cents, or if you bought 17 cents when the lawsuit got dropped, guess what? You're in significant profit. And you were in significant profit even in 2021. But beyond this, right? When you go over to Ripple's website and you go to crypto for businesses, you have everything that these clients want, right? You have modernized and streamlined payments. When you look into this, you can actually see everything regarding all of the use cases. Cross-border payments, remittances, SME, and even treasury, payroll, domestic consumer payments, micropayments, acceptance and issuance of crypto payments as well. You can see the benefits. You could also see how they can help. This is where that liquidity solution, the liquidity hub, comes into place. You also have CBDCs there, stablecoins. You have improved treasury management. Again, you can see the use cases, payment support, foreign exchange through crypto markets, new assets for hedging and other diversification strategies, alternative financing options such as CeFi and even DeFi initiatives. You can see the benefits. Again, this is based on the FX market, a $7.5 trillion per day market. Make assets more agile. Here's where you have use cases. Currencies, stablecoins, CBDCs, liquid or illiquid assets, carbon credits, stocks, real estate, gold, digital collectibles, intellectual property, access rights. And this is all around tokenization. They have everything under all one umbrella. Build customer engagement with crypto. Here's the use cases around that. Here's offer new financial services. Here's the use cases around that. Like when we look at all of these use cases, when we look at all of the steps that Ripple has been making, it's all to become that one-stop shop, that Amazon of the future. And I really do believe that they are going to be very, very successful in this move because I do think that they are fully focused. I feel as though they have a plan. I feel as though it's all by plan as well. I mean, when you really look at standard custody and you look at Ripple, I mean, if you go back in time, Ripple had so many connections to standard custody. Arthur Brito was a big player behind standard custody and even behind PolySign and also behind the XRP Ledger and Ripple. I mean, it doesn't really take too much to really kind of look at all of this and say, this was pretty much all by plan, wasn't it? And you could say that it's a tinfoil hat theory, but it's really not. I mean, I strongly believe that all of this is already planned ahead. I've talked about it multiple times in the past. I really don't believe in coincidences. And I just think that all of this is coming together. I think all the pieces are falling into place. I keep saying that. And I think that as we really look at where Ripple is currently speaking and the position that they're in, I really do think that Ripple is going to become a significant player in this new world of finance. And I do believe that XRP and the XRP Ledger will be a big pillar for that as well. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.